Okay, you are through to my mathematics class. Today we are looking at a very famous topic in mathematics, and this is estimation. This is estimation. Okay, so now this question was sampled from one of the past papers in paper 1. So quickly let us see how best we can handle this particular questions, which is under approximation and estimation. Chialwa estimated the length of a string as 15 centimeters. If the true length of the string was 14.6 centimeters, find the A, absolute value, then B, relative error. Okay, so sometimes the way they ask, they will tell you to say find absolute error or absolute value. They are just one and the same, just like the way they've asked on the next question. So now here, the first thing that you're supposed to understand is that how to find the absolute error or value as well as the relative error when you are given an information like the one that we have. So quickly let us go to solution and see how best we can handle this particular question. So for absolute error or absolute value, the formula is this one, okay? So absolute error, we just write like this: absolute error is equals to, this A is representing absolute, then B value, or I mean error, we say E. Now according to the question, they have given us value. So we say A dot V, absolute value, okay? So the formula here is the true value minus, recorded value minus true value. That is the formula for absolute value or absolute error. So recorded value, and that one should be written in a absolute form minus the true value. Okay, so it's important that you indicate this formula in absolute brackets. The reason is very simple, because we are dealing with absolute according to the question. They are saying absolute. So absolute, this is the form for absolute. Okay, so you need to put them inside the bracket. So for you to find absolute value here, it's very simple, because you are given the recorded value and the absolute value. Okay, so now before I start substituting here, there's something that I want you to understand here also. These brackets called absolute, when you see them, the good part of them is that even if a number is, or the answer that you are going to get there, you are going to have a negative answer, that one will become what? Positive. What do I mean? If you have, for example, -3, so this one, when you put it in the absolute value, it will be 3. Okay, so absolute form, that one gives you always a positive answer. Okay, that's what it means. So here now we can go on by substituting recorded value that we have. When we go back to the statement that we have, they are saying Chialwa estimated the length of a string as 15 centimeters. So that estimation is recorded value, okay, because it was just an estimation. So that one is recorded value, okay. That is the one we are going to put where there is RV, okay, then minus. Then true value, if the true length of the string was 14.6 centimeters, find the value find the absolute value, and this is what we are trying to find. So it was 14 what? 14.6. Okay. So now from there, we can subtract this, and what are we going to have? 15 minus 14.6. Remember here, that's how we subtract. We put them the whole number in line, then that one just introduce a 0 there so that you can subtract properly. So here you are going to get a 1 there. You put it there. Okay, here you have 14. So you say 10 minus 6. What is the answer? The answer is 4. Then you put a point. Remember here you have a 4, which gives you what? 14. So 14 minus 14, the answer will be 4. Or I mean 0. So therefore, here you are going to say 4 as 0.4. Then this one is 0.4. So the absolute of 0.4 is 0.4. Okay. So that is our absolute value according to the question that we are given here. Then from there, we can go to the next question, which is B. This was A. So we go to B. Okay. So B, they are saying relative error. So how do we find the relative error? Okay. So relative error is equals to absolute value over true value. That is the formula. Okay. Absolute value over true value. Now imagine, yes, absolute value, which is absolute error in other words. So imagine if you have failed to find the absolute value, it means even the second question will be wrong for you. You are going to get a 0 out of 4 marks that you are supposed to get there. So it is the same absolute value that we found. We are going to substitute for us to find the relative error or relative value. So there you say 0.4. That is our what? Absolute value. That's the one we have. Then true value, you get back to the statement that you have. So the true value in this case is what? 14.6. That is the true length. 14 over 14.6. Okay? So now remember, you are in paper 1, and paper 1 calculator is not allowed. So how can you work out decimal numbers when you are dividing decimal numbers? What do we do? So decimal numbers, how we divide by, we first of all remove them from decimal numbers. And how do we remove? We count the number of decimal places that we have. So when you look at the top part, we have 1 decimal place here, 0.4. So what you are going to do is you are going to multiply this one now times what? 10. Imagine if we had 2 decimal places, we were supposed to add another 0 there. 3 decimal places, another 0. 4 decimal places, just like that. Now, since we have 1, that's why we are just indicating it, 1 0 there. Okay, so this is the same one we are going to multiply even the what? The denominator. That's how we move. Okay. So here now, when you multiply 0.4 times 10, the answer is 4. Over. Then when we say 14.6 times 10, the answer is 146. Very simple. What do we do is, this is the 1 decimal point. We have 0. So just to get the point here, it means we have multiplied with a 10. Even here, you move a point to come here and it will be a 4. That's what we have done. Then from there, remember, we can reduce this to its lowest term. I'm sure there is a number that can go into 4 and 146 without leaving a remainder. And what is that number? Let's try 2. Okay, when you say 2 there is what? 2 into 4 is what? 2 over 2 into 14, 7. Then 2 into 6, we have a 3. So the answer is going to be 2 over 73. So that is our relative value. Now remember, there will be a question where they will ask you to find now relative percentage error. So for percentage error, you just multiply this one times 100%. That will be your answer. Percentage error is equals to relative value or relative error times 100%. Okay. Now, according to the question that we are given today, that is how we are supposed to handle it. Okay. Thank you so very much for your attention. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exclusive videos in mathematics. See you in the next class.